In today's video, we'll be taking a close look at this EF Delta high power output, high-end portable power station that has the ability to be recharged from 0% capacity all the way up to 80% capacity in only 1 hour. I'll show you all the features of this unit and thoroughly test out the EF Delta to make sure it performs as advertised. This unit was sent to me by the company, but that does not mean you will be getting a biased review. If I observe anything bad about this unit, you're going to hear about it. As usual, a link has been placed in the video description area. When I received this portable power station, it was delivered inside of a very strong and thick-walled cardboard box. Inside the cardboard box, this was in the center, and there were foam pieces all around it. How this was shipped could not have been any better. The company wants you to keep that box, just in case you decide within 30 days that you're not satisfied with the product. You can send it back, and you also have a 2-year warranty on this product. So anytime during the 2 years, you would take this EF Delta, place it back inside this box, and then inside the larger cardboard box. That way it's very easy to ship back to the manufacturer. And here you can see what it looks like with the box removed. You have that very thick foam piece on top. Lift that off the unit. There's a manual. There's one box here with stuff inside. We'll take a look in a minute. Another one over here on this side. And then we have the portable power station with this very nice cover that's included sitting on this foam pad. Let me lift this off and take a closer look at everything that's included. And right over here you got the packet with the instruction manual. It says charge me now. Before you read any further, please charge the Delta to 100%. You're going to use the 100 to 120 volt AC wall charger or the car charger inside of the package, which is inside one of these boxes. Let me put this off to the side. In a minute we'll take a look at the instructions. Let's open up box number 1. Okay. Now what's nice about this unit, you do not have a bulky switch mode power supply. All you have is this heavy gauge cord, 3-prong grounded, and it plugs into the back of the unit. That's the AC charger. Over here is your solar charging cable. You can see it has the MC4 connectors and the XT60 connector that plugs into the unit. Right here is box 2. Open this up. And that is your car charger for the accessory socket inside your vehicle. And over here you have the same XT60 connector. Charging this unit by solar power or using your vehicle uses the same XT60 port. The cover on top of the EcoFlow Delta appears to be a water-resistant material, so if you were transporting this and it was outside for a minute and it started raining, it should protect the portable power station inside. Now to open this, there's a flap. It's tucked underneath each side. Grab it with your fingers and just roll it down. You can see right there. I'll do the same on the opposite side. And you can see both are now out. Right here is Velcro. And just lift the cover off. On the very top is a label, and it's telling you that every single one of these units is going to have a different spray pattern applied to this panel, using a free spraying technology to ensure a pollution-free and non-toxic product. And you can see there's just a different pattern on there. Around the perimeter of this panel is a rubberized trim. Over here are ventilation openings, and on the opposite side is where the fans are located. Let's take a look at this end. As you can see, there are 6 120 volt receptacles, and that's very handy because you want to be able to plug in more than one device, especially when you have a unit like this that can supply up to 1800 watts of power. That's like walking around with a 15 amp receptacle that's inside your home. In order to turn on the power to the receptacles, all you would do is push this button, hold it, and then you would see a light come on at the very bottom. Right over here is a 12 volt output. It's actually 13.6 volts, and it's rated up to 8 amps. We're going to be testing that out. On this side here is where the fans are mounted, and underneath this cover, when you open it up, that's the input panel. So over here is where you would plug in either your solar panel using the XT60 connector, or you can plug in the cable that goes to your vehicle's accessory socket. For the center right here, you would use the AC mains cord that you see right here. This end would plug right in. In the event you exceed 20 amps going into this unit, this button right here is going to pop out. You would have to push it back in to reset. The maximum input wattage using an AC cord is going to be 1200 watts, and the maximum input wattage over here for the XT60 is going to be 400 watts. You can input 10 volts all the way up to 65 volts. This portable power station weighs just under 31 pounds or 14 kilograms. The dimensions for this unit are 15.7 inches from the left to right side or 40 centimeters, 8.3 inches or 21 centimeters from back to front, and from bottom to top 10.6 inches or 27 centimeters. The unit is very comfortable to carry when it's held in front of you with your left and right hand. There are no sharp edges to dig into your fingers. The battery pack is made using lithium-ion 18650 cells. The capacity is 1260 watt-hours, and the voltage is 50.4 volts. So more than likely inside this unit are 14 18650 cells placed in series, and then a bunch of those groups placed in parallel. Unlike many other power stations, this one is UL rated, along with CE, FCC, RoHS, and PSE. Okay, let's take a look at this side. Over here is the liquid crystal display, and you have your USB Type A ports. This is a standard port. Each one of these is going to have up to 2.4 amp output and 12 watts. On this side, you have USB Type A fast charge ports. When you plug in a compatible device, the data pins are going to set up the output voltage for these ports. And the voltage could be 5 volts, 9 volts, or 12 volts. The maximum power output is 2.4 amps, but 28 watts each. Down here you have your USB Type-Cs. These are also the power delivery ports. They're going to have the voltage adjusted based on the device communicating with this unit using the data pins. Output voltage for these ports could be 5 volts, 9 volts, 15 volts, or 20 volts. 3 amp maximum or 60 watts per port. Let's power the unit up by pushing this button. Over here you have your input wattage. When you're charging, you're going to see how many watts are going into the unit. Down here is your output wattage. In the center you can see 30% charge, just like the manufacturer said when you get it. And there's only these 3 blue bars. They're going to make a full circle when the unit is 100% charged. In the event of a battery failure, this entire ring would start flashing. Right over here it shows how much time is remaining based on the load and the state of charge of the battery. This does top off at 99 hours, so you do have a lot more than 99 hours, especially if nothing is being used. You'll see this number change once I connect up a load. I'm going to plug this in right now, and you'll see the display change once it's plugged in. While it's charging, I'm going to go over the manual with you to show you a few more things. And you can hear the fan running. Time remaining, it's showing 1 hour. And you can see the wattage climbing right here. Let's see where it levels off at. And it appears to have stabilized around 1040 watts. 51 minutes. That is not bad at all to go from 30% up to 100. Inside the envelope is the instruction manual and this claim your warranty card. Tells you to visit the website and you can activate your warranty, and on the back is contact information, Facebook, Twitter, and you can see there's a phone number as well as an email address. Right over here you can see extra things on the display which you could not see a minute ago. So right over here it shows the picture of a fan, a thermometer that's low, so low temperature, a thermometer that's high, high temperature. There's an exclamation point. Over here you see recharging time, which I just showed you when I plugged in the unit to charge from 30%. Down here it says 60 Hertz. Now with this unit you have the ability to switch between 50 Hertz and 60 Hertz output at the 120 volt receptacles. To switch between 50 and 60 Hertz output at the AC receptacles, all you would have to do is push and hold the AC on button for the receptacles, and you're going to hold it for about 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, you're going to see an indication on the LCD display showing what you see right here. Over here is just little indicators letting you know what you're using on the unit. So if you're using the car accessory socket, that's 13.6 volts, rated up to 8 amps, this is going to be illuminated. And if you're using a DC output, such as the USB ports, another one will be illuminated. If you have the AC receptacles turned on and something plugged into it, at the same time while the unit is plugged into the AC mains, all power is going to be coming from the AC mains, not the unit. So the power is going to flow through into the load. In the event of a power failure, it's going to act like an uninterruptible power supply. It's very quickly going to switch to the power coming from the EcoFlow unit. We're going to be testing that feature out in this video to see how well it works. The unit has a diagnostic system built into it, so let's take a quick look at some of the things that it's able to tell you. In the event the battery pack is too hot or too cold, you're going to see an indication of that on the LCD display. It's going to look like what you see right over here, all the way down through here. One of the tests we're going to do in this video is to see how well this unit acts when it's overloaded. And right here are a few more things that you may see show up on that LCD display. Okay, now let's get testing. As you can see, 100%, and it only took about 53 minutes from 30%. Now the first test I want to do is going to be on this 12 volt accessory socket. We're going to be putting a constant current load right at 8 amps or just a hair under, and we're going to make sure it runs with no problem for half an hour. And then after that test, I'm going to be applying a 10 amp constant current load to see if this turns off due to overload. For the test, I'll be using this electronic load tester that you see right here. Before I connect this up to the socket and set it for 8 amps, first let's take a look at the voltage reading to see if it's close to 13.6. 13.6, right on. Okay, just over a half an hour, we dropped to 97%, and there was no problem at all powering just under an 8 amp load. Now let me set this for 10 amps and repeat the test to see if we can trigger an overload. In the previous test, just a hair under 8 amps, we were right around 108, 109 for wattage, and that's exactly what the manual says is the limit. Now we're going to push it. I'm going to bring it up to right around 125 watts. Here we go. Okay guys, it ran for over a half an hour and no problem at all at 10 amps. 125 watts is 15% higher than the rated output of 108.3. The next thing we're going to test are the USB Type A ports. So let me turn that on. According to the manual, 2.4 amps each is the max. So what I'm going to do is plug in this electronic load, set it to 2.4 amps. We should see 12 watts show up right over here. And then I'm slowly going to increase the current until we see the level of current keep rising and then start to drop off. Once it starts to drop, you're going to know the maximum for this unit for the port. So let me plug this in. Right there, you can see 2.4. Let's turn it on. And we can take a look at the voltage. 12 watts, 5 volts. Right over here, 12 watts. So let me increase the current slowly. Let's see what happens. I go a little higher. Nope, see it's dropping back to 11 and 12. No good. Back off just a hair. 14 is it. 4.9 to 5 volts. So 14 watts per port on the left side is as much as you're going to get. So let me put this down to 12 watts at 2.4 amps, and I'm going to let it run for a half an hour to make sure there's no overload. Okay, a half an hour has passed at 2.4 amps and no problem at all. For the USB Type A fast charge ports, I use my small electronic load tester along with another load tester that's highly accurate. Both were connected to the fast charge ports. I verified that you were able to get at least 2.4 amps over a 30-minute period for each one of those ports. I was actually able to get up to 2.6 amps for each one of the fast charge ports. For the USB Type-C ports, ensure that we can get at least 3 amps from each one of the ports. And I did. I was able to get 3.4 amps out of each port. The load was in place for 30 minutes with no problem at all. I then connected up a MacBook Pro as well as a Nintendo Switch for 45 minutes and the charging was just fine. Now we're going to test the AC receptacle. The first thing I want to do is take a look to make sure that the output is a sine wave output. To take a look at the waveform, we're going to be using this oscilloscope. It's set to the ×10 setting, and the probe is also set to ×10. I'm going to push the button right here, turn it on, and right there you can see that sine wave. Down here, hopefully you can see it, 122 volts. The next thing we're going to do is test out the uninterruptible power supply feature for this unit. I'm going to be using a laptop with no battery installed. Plug this cord into the back of the unit right here. I'm not going to turn this on yet until after this cord is plugged in. We're going to go the extreme port, the input charging port. I'm trying to see it, the camera's in the way. Now the computer will not turn on because the port is not activated. What I want to do is wait for this to level off, and I'm going to show you that once I turn on my laptop, the power is going to be coming from the AC mains input. It's going to show maybe 40 watts over here, but it's going to add that 40 to the input because it means the power is not coming from the battery inside, but it's coming from the AC receptacle. Alright, so we leveled off around 704. Let me turn this on. Now I'm going to power up the laptop. Hard to see, but it is powering up. And you can see the 45 watts. And you notice this went from 705. Now look at it. It's adding this wattage at the bottom that's being used by the laptop to the input at the top. Now I'm going to pull this cord out and the computer should not go off. If the computer goes off, this unit is not switching fast enough to go between the AC mains and the inverter inside the unit. Here we go. Very good. It's still running. All the power is now coming off of the inverter board and the battery pack. So the uninterruptible power supply feature does work. Switching between 50 Hz and 60 Hz for the AC receptacle is very simple. While it's off, you're going to reach around back, push the button, and hold for 15 seconds. And you can see 60 Hz. Now in order to switch it back, just turn it off. And then you're going to push and hold again for 15 seconds. Now we're at 50. Very easy to do. Now let me show you a few things that the EcoFlow Delta can be used to power. Here we have a 1500 watt microwave oven. And you can see we peaked out just under 1700 watts and the microwave is running just fine. Powering small toaster ovens, not a problem. And powering this 12 amp upright vacuum cleaner, no problem at all. Power tools up to 13 or 14 amps, you'll have no problem using the EcoFlow Delta with. I've tested them. The smaller circular saw will work just fine. But when you get up to the larger circular saws like this, or even some of the bigger chop saws, they draw 15 amps. And the limit of the EcoFlow Delta is 15 amps. Now, even though this has a 3,300 watt inrush capability, this saw is 15 amps, and the inrush is also very high. So watch what happens when I go to start it. It went into overload, and it will not start again now unless you push the button on the back by the receptacles to turn it on and off to reset the circuit. One test that I did was to see if I can exceed the 1800 watt maximum for this unit. Right here you can see 2,100 watts, exceeding the rating by 300, and it was able to power that load for 3 full minutes before powering off. For the last test, we're going to see how long the unit can be operated at or very close to that 1800 watt maximum. I'll be using the electric grill, the toaster oven, and the spotlight. The EcoFlow Delta was able to maintain that level of power for 34 minutes. When the portable power station is used for a heavy load for a prolonged period of time, you will not be able to immediately charge it after using it. The portable power station charges just fine inside your vehicle, and that's with the car battery being charged. And the last thing that I did was connect up my 400 watt solar module. The conditions today were not the most ideal. The sky was a little hazy today, so I was only able to get around 375 watts out of the panel, and you can see that right here. So how do I feel about this unit? I think it's pretty good. I really like my Max Oak Bluetti, but after using this portable power station and seeing how fast it can charge from 0 to 80%, as well as the high current rating using appliances up to 2,000 watts, I definitely would prefer this one over the Max Oak. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching.